It's time for a nice Friday coding stream. Gonna get my act together today and really clean up my document rendering library. I was fooling around with reagent and some front-end GUI stuff, which I want to keep doing because it's going to be more and more useful for me as I go. But I realized that I really need to get clear on separation of concepts with drawing SVG elements and drawing 3D elements and stuff like that. So I'm gonna clean up bits of you could call it an API, I guess, but I'm gonna just start cleaning things up, separating them out appropriately, documenting that in the org file, and testing out that things actually make sense to use still in the browser. So that's the work for the day. I'm gonna give myself the opportunity to take it casually and just kind of go at a sort of leisurely pace because, yeah, feeling kind of chill today, you know? So don't want to stress myself out, don't want to do anything crazy, just want to focus in and actually try to make some useful changes to the library. So that's enough chit chat about that. May as well just get into it. So this is what I'm working on at the moment. Pulling out pulling out every element from draw that is just, if I do this, right, HTML hiccup.core/HTML, I think, right, that renders, I suppose I don't have it, anyway, maybe this. Well, whatever. It's anyway, it's unimportant for what I'm trying to even say. So what I'm doing here though is pulling out from the draw namespace any piece that directly creates an SVG hiccup element. So the reason for that is I'm going to keep this namespace as simple as I possibly can, SVG wrappers and nothing else. So that means this means that let's use this. Here are covered. The idea is that this namespace is a direct API for SVG. The draw namespace will use it heavily to abstract away. Oh, this is confusing to say. Let's just leave it at that for now. Let's keep it as simple as possible. No need to confuse anyone. That's all this is. The elements listed here, the most useful elements listed here are covered. More advanced SVG elements are currently not enabled because the stylo library focuses on creating simple diagrams and figures using the basics. Sure, okay. Anyway, so that just means stuff like this, right? This the namespace here technically doesn't really need anything to be pulled in. The SVG element is just, it wraps up. This is what the SVG will look like, and it gets compiled later on by the Hiccup compiler or whatever. And then currently I wrap everything in a transform tag to do the scaling, but I might experiment with changing that, but I'll get to that later. What I want here, so here's string helpers. These just mean they're little things to help form, like to emit proper strings that are needed for the parts of the SVG. So for example, path string, actually let me switch to this namespace here, and just build these things in here. Right, so path string takes a list of points. Let's do 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, and it creates this, which is the little sort of domain specific domain. It's like a mini sort of language to describe drawing out a path, and that's the string. That's the format laid out by here. It's just this. It does not use everything, right? There's different anyway, I don't know where. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, there's a little bit of a sort of language about making these. Move to 1030. I forget what that is. Point is, this just is useful to draw a path from a list of points. Point string is used in things like polygons. Yeah, so the polygon element uses point string because you just list out a set of points. It's different than path string, but both you could make, obviously, so the point string and the path string you can send in the same list of points and it'll work. Translate string just emits the appropriate transform string with the value, pass it in. So that's very straightforward. And here, shapes, this is what I'm working on now. I want to wrap circle, ellipse, line, path, polygon, polyline, rectangle, and text. Those are the things that I care about. They're also pretty much the main. If you go down here to graphics elements here, circle, ellipse, skipping image, might put that in later, but for now it's not going to be in there. Line is in there. Mesh is I guess not a thing yet, so I'm not going to worry about that. Path, Polygon, Polyline, Rectangle, Text, and Use. I forget what this is, but I don't think... Oh, okay, Use might actually be a good idea. It's like you use instances, but since I'm actually gonna I'm just not gonna have that in right now because I can use Clojure and Clojure scripts sort of built-in stuff to achieve the same result anyway. Eventually it might be good to change it so that the resulting rendered document has nice semantic SVG right in there, but for right now I'm not going to worry about that, so that'll stay as is. This stuff I don't think I'll ever implement, the light source related stuff. Some of this stuff is fine. See, the nice thing about it is, like, even if I don't implement stuff specifically here, a user of the library could very easily just create their own, right? Like this becomes, if I do this, point light, and then pass it attribute value maps like that, and then content, right? Like you can very easily make your own components anyway, so it's not really a big deal if I don't do that. Okay, so let's have a look at this circle thing here, right? Let's just see if it makes sense, right? So circle, if I do the x position is 2, 3, and the radius is 2. There it is, nice and simple. So here is an opportunity for me to build out these functions to have a few sort of sane defaults and stuff like that. But I'll have to think about how I want to approach that. So here, let's go ahead and actually call things pretty good as is, okay? So I actually don't know if I like this approach here where I have optional arguments that way. I have to think about it. Well, let's follow the rule of this being a direct wrapper over SVG. So I want to keep things pretty restricted. Be like this. Let's have a look at what rectangle actually is for a minute though. Okay, so we have circle, we have rectangle. Let's look at, oh, you know what, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's follow these in order here, alphabetical order. So we've got circle, we've got ellipse, which is going to take cx, cy, which is center x, center y, right? And then radius x, radius y. And we do ellipse, cx, cx, cy, cy, rx, rx, ry, ry. Simple stuff. Line, I have a approximate example of that here. Line. Interestingly, I've implemented my own function earlier, ln, with a polyline. So what I want to do instead is just recreate, let me just do it differently. Line, and it's just going to be 2 points, right? It's a line is just 2 points, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, x1, y1, x2, y2. So what I want to do here actually is a, b, like that, where ax, ay, bx, by. Let's write it that way. So it's clear that they're points anyway. And we'll be okay with that for now. So that's line. Yeah, and all we're going to have is x1, y1, x2, y2. And it's ax, y, bx, by. That's line, path. Okay, so path, this one's an interesting one. Well, it's theoretically interesting. The difference here is path can take a list of points, but path can also take a list of lists of points. So I have to figure out how I want to write that out. By that I mean, if I go to path here, path element is a generic element to define a shape. All the basic shapes can be created with path element. So an interesting thing that just popped into my head is maybe I should actually define things as literally just like path-based stuff. So the logic always ends up creating a path string. But that's going to be a thought for another day. So let's see here. There's 2 ways to do this. Well, let's have a look here. Let's start with the easy thing here, right? So we've got points. What's a better way to do this? Let's do endpoints, because maybe this will be good enough, right? So we want to map over points the path string function, and maybe that. Okay, so that's obviously this is incomplete, but let's have a look at what that achieves for us. Okay, so let's clear that out. So we've got path, right? If I do endpoints, let's do a path that's 0, 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, just for kicks. Okay, so we've got now one string that is that path. Now let's create another path, which is a list of different points here. We'll make it 4 points instead. So we do -1, -2, -4, -5, 5, 6, 20, 10. Sure, right? So what I should expect, if I'm thinking about this properly, is 2 lists of 2 strings, or a list of 2 strings, which is exactly what I have here, right? Which is nice. So then all I actually need to do there is if I run string on that, right? String those 2. Nope, that's incorrect. But if I do apply string, I forget. I always forget this stuff. There. So we're almost there, but you see this here? I need it to be a new line. So instead what I'm going to do is make this a let paths be this map, okay? And that's paths, and then D is just going to be the apply string of interpose, and interpose I forget, so if I do interpose, here we've got separator and collection. So if I separate with a new line, interpose a new line between the paths, right? That should work there. And then the result of all of this is actually just going to be a path element that has the D property D. Okay? So let's have a look. Let's see if that does what I want it to. Oh, what have I done now? Let's get rid of this. Let's try it again here. Okay, so now we have path. So let's just call this again. So we got path with D. And if let me do print line D from second of this thing. Is that gonna do what I want it to? Yeah. Right, so it successfully makes 2 path things here, which is good for me. So let's see. Is that actually what I want it to do? Let me see here what where's the I need the syntax for this, or whatever. I need the description of this language again because I forget it. Specifications. Let's go here. Nope. Well, okay, maybe it is in here. Let's have a look at how this works here, because I forget. I have them ending with Z here, and I forget if that closes it. I don't remember. So we got move to. Okay. The following sections list the commands, those that draw straight line segments, and the close path commands, Z and Z. Okay. So this path here, the path string should be closed path string, actually. Define path should be closed path, or Actually, you know what? For right now, I am just gonna leave it be, because there's work to be done specifically with path stuff, right? Like I could make a bunch of different functions that all use path. For example, Bezier stuff, cubic Bezier, elliptical arcs, all of that would probably be good to build into sets of functions here, but for right now I'm going to leave it be. Just let it be. I could do generic, right, where I could make it as simple as I could make it like this. So okay, so if I do closed path, okay, that's that. But if I define path to be literally this, that's even simpler. It's just path D is D, and that's it. So then closed path, all I would have to do is call path with D like that. I don't know if I like that though. What this at least does is let the user, they could manually construct the string there. Yeah, okay. We'll leave it like that for the time being. That's reasonable. I think that's okay. That'll be okay. So let's try this out. Let's just make sure that it makes sense. Right? So this won't work anymore. Wrong number of arguments. This, if I change this to closed path, it does indeed work. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, okay, for right now, I'm gonna call that okay. So we've got path, now let's do polygon. Polygon should be nice and easy. Rectangle, I'm gonna move it. Oop. Okay, we've got path and polypath we don't need anymore technically. Rectangle's down here. Okay. Okay, polygon. We go like this. Polygon does take a single list of points. And it just works like this. Very simple. That should be good. Point string points. Do I want to do... Ooh, wait a second. And this should not say points, it should say... Oh, wait. Ooh. This is confusing because here polygon takes points, but I had this take endpoints, which is not clear at all. So it should be and point sets. paths. We'll do it like that. And paths. That makes that's good. That's helpful. And paths. This should be closed path string after all, because it is a closed path string only. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if I like this, but for the time being, it is better than nothing. This, now I gotta get rid of that. Okay, so Polygon, let's make sure that it actually is what I think. Let's go Polygon, points, list of points. Points, point string, points. Very simple. And I'm pretty sure Polyline is actually the same. Where are we looking at here? Polyline, points, yeah. So that's really easy actually. Polygon, polyline. Okay. Polygon, polyline, rectangle. Okay, rectangle should be easy. What are we looking at here? Why did I scroll this up and down? I didn't need to do that. Rectangle. Okay. I have to go to the washroom. Be right back. I won't be long. I promise you that. I won't be very long. Right, let's have a look here. We've got rectangles may have their corners rounded. Do I want to expose that? I'm gonna not for right now. Simple rectangle with height. Okay, so X. So it can have X and Y position, I assume, as well. So we should, so for rectangle, ooh, what's the right way to do this? Well, the logic of circle was that I did allow CX, CY to exist there. Ellipse, the same. Line, you can move anywhere because you can put AX, AY, BX, BY. Path and closed path and polygon and polyline, you can move, you can manipulate all of that stuff. Let's do this. X, Y. But you don't need to. Width, height. So this one has multiplarity. Width, height. Rectangle. Width, width. Height, height. Okay, that's a start for all of these. Now, slightly, well, before I go there, let me, since I have this running, I'm going to, let's just make a template proto. Let's go here. Oop. I don't need to save this really. Toolbox. That's good there. Spawner is fine. App here. Let's get rid of the explanation entirely. And template proto we can actually get rid of as well. And instead, what I want to do here, I want to go silo.svg as svg. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Use of undeclared. Right, because here now I need this namespace to pull in the proper thing. That's a start. Still gonna get problems. Oof. This is the problem with, like trying to clean up a library before you've fully decided on the architecture and layout and everything, is when you make changes, it can become a problem. And I can't, so the reason I don't do refer all here is because the all keyword doesn't work in the context of Clojure script. Right, couldn't analyze that because of the keyword all here. Even if I put it in a list like that, or a vector I should say, still gonna have the problem there. So instead I have to enumerate the parts that it needs, which, okay, is not so bad. Oh, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so this is not a solved problem yet. But for right now, I'm gonna just go ahead and deal with it. What I want to do is, here I have literally nothing but the header being spawned anyway. So what I can do in here is svg/svg, which is going to be 500 by 300, scale is going to be 1. And what I want to do, let's start really simple by doing the function circle. Its center position is 10, 10, and its radius is going to be 20. Let's make the center position 50 instead. Okay, let's see if that'll render. Okay, there we go. So we are getting problems after all. Oh, okay, well, why did that go all weird? Obviously, this is not the smoothest way to do things, right? Right, draw/polygon doesn't exist. Instead, ooh boy, okay. Alright, let's just simplify. Let's just go right to simpler again for a minute here. Still not going to be good. Okay, so well, it's a good thing this is just a scratch pad anyway, because things are messy. Let's have a look, see if this renders. Where am I missing this here? I'm getting weird, some inconsistencies with messages here. Oh, drawable doesn't exist. Yes, yes, yes. All right, this I'm trying to be lazy here and do the wrong things. Okay, we're at a position that's sort of working for now. So what I have is SVG circle. Okay. So what I'm doing here, let me do something a little different here. Defn SVG tests. SVG/SVG 500 500 scale 1. We'll start there. Yeah. And then this, let's get rid of that. SVG tests. Perfect. SVG/circle 10 10 radius 5, sure. Okay. Let's go through all of these. SVG shapes, circle, let's do ellipse. CX, CY, let's do RX, RY, let's do radius X, 5, 7, ellipse, line, SVG/line is just going to be 2 points like this, so let's do 20, 30, 40, 50, SVG path. Well, let's not do path right away. Let's do closed path. And the closed path, I'm gonna make a square of some kind, right? And I want it to be, let's do it at 200, 200, 240, 200. 240, 240, and 200, 240. So that's closed path. And polygon, let's just do really simple 0, 0, 0, 10, 5, 10. Polyline. Rectangle. Five, 10, and we'll do SVG/rectangle 300, 10, 10, 5. And that should be all the shapes. Let me just actually make a polyline here for a minute. Right. Okay. Polyline. 400, 400, 410, 400, 420. Does that make sense as a shape? I don't know. All right, let's have a look here. Oh, gotta close the SVG, that, save that. All right, so we've got a bunch of weirdness going on, which is fine, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I cover things up by accident? Oh, here, this polygon I for sure covered with this rectangle, right? Yeah. Okay. What I want to check for a moment here is actually if I do this G, style tag where I have fill none. I want to see if that propagates to all of the children in the G tag here, because if it does, that might make part of my life a little easier. Oh. Right. Ah, okay, so that does work. Fill none. Stroke. Black. Okay, we've got something. Stroke width 2. Yeah, okay. Okay, so thing to test. Okay, so circle is working okay. This rectangle is moving fine. What I want to try for a moment is, let's go into the G tag here and we'll create, actually no, let me test something for a minute. What I want to see here is if Polygon, if I can actually, let's, yeah, so, okay, let's do this. X 100, Y 200. So what I want to do here, I'm just testing this to see if X and Y attributes apply to polygons as well. And if it does, one of these should move, and it does not. Wait, what? Why do you suddenly care about that? You didn't before. I have made a big mess. Whoops. Okay, draggable component. Man, okay, that's fine. It is not a real problem. I just have made my life a little harder than perhaps it needs to be. Okay. All of those are going to be problems, but I'll deal with them later. Oops. Okay, okay, let's just get back to what I was attempting to figure out here. Okay, so SVG elements. Oh, no, sorry, SVG element. That was right. String helpers, shapes. Okay. Polygon. Doesn't look like it worked, right? So if I do yes, okay, fine. I need to fix this. What's the right approach here? So composites I just mean as like one level up. They're combinations of different shapes to be useful. So dot is not really helpful to me. Dot an attention line like this, an attention circle don't make sense really. Label does kind of make sense, so I'll leave label for now. Line. Line dash D. Okay. Now if we go back into draw, we're gonna have a whole we're gonna have a lot of work to do fixing this stuff up. So let's clear out stuff that I'm not using right now anyway. Just to keep things a little bit neater for the time being. This has to be arrow. Okay, let's actually go ahead and refer all of these right away. Okay, so let's start actually here. Now this is a good example of how I can actually use different. Okay, right, SVG, circle, ellipse, line, path, closed path, polygon, polyline, rectangle, transforms. I'll get to in a oh boy, that is unpleasant. Don't know why I did that. Okay, rectangle. Actually, transforms. Let me get it right away. Scale, translate, rotate. Yes, those are good. Scale, translate, rotate. Arrow is a composite, and label. Okay, that for now covers what's available there. So we close off SVG. Draw is going to be a big old tangled web. Get back to ASDF. That's good for now. Okay, draw 3D. Well, no, let's start with containers here. Okay, figure, quadrant figure uses divs, SVG. There should be no problems there. Geometry helpers should have no real, they're just math, so that shouldn't really have any issues. Parametric should theoretically be fine as well. Oh shoot, we've got this as a problem, right? We've got now things overwriting. Okay, good. Offset. Okay, here we are with offset. That should need I thought I would have needed it somewhere in here. Let's see. Offset edges, O points, O edges, edge pairs. Okay, that looks fine. Dimensions. Ah, here we are. Okay. Arrow, arrow, line, line, translate. And here we have a rotate, scale. Is it gonna work? Perhaps. SVG patterning, let's go ahead and delete that as well for right now. Yeah. I've almost certainly broken things, and this is going to give me headaches later, but I need to fix this stuff. Like, I really do need to clean things up, so. Okay, polypath. Yeah, that exists. Okay. That's somewhere down here, actually. If I go like this. Path. Oh dear. Let's just see. This probably breaks, but should eliminate compilation warnings, I think. Okay, that's fine. Move chords is just going to be translate coordinates there. And here, all right, let's see. We are getting closer and closer to usefulness, or to this is in the file fabric extension. Okay, so the draw namespace almost certainly has some broken logic now, but so far successfully has pulled out anything that's a direct SVG thing, and we can fix things up from there. That's a really good set of work. So now extensions is going to have some problems of its own. So what I need to do here is, let's go ahead and get rid of that. So stylo.draw we should call stylo.svg as svg. And let's have a look there. So this part here, define HST, which is half square triangle, is a specific thing for quilting, which is what this is meant to do. So shapes here, square. Actually, what I should do here is re-implement these with their proper calls to the SVG library, because what I'm doing is duplicating efforts again here, right? That's really not ideal. Okay. Okay. On that note, I'm going to get up and stretch out for a minute. Slow my brain down again. I'll be back in a minute. Right. Okay, let's see here. Oh man, I always do this. I'm doing time tracking. I have an app on my phone for it, but I always forget to pause things at the right time and start things at the right time, for that matter. So I just have to fix that here. Come on. Okay. It actually does feel good to try and clean things up, delete things, all that sort of stuff. Some things do worry me about if I'm doing things in an actually intelligent way, but really things are slowly coming together in my mind and they're starting to make more sense, which is definitely nice. The thing that worries me, right, is I do use this library to create documents, and what I'm making now are breaking changes, right? So those documents, if they're not finished, I'll have to render them out again, and they'll just break. But that's a little bit of, I think it's called dog fooding. You know, you have to use your own work and just get to a cohesive part. So that's all just part of the deal. It's totally fine. I just need the patience to change it properly, right? This is almost certainly wrong. Okay, headings and stuff is fine. Square. This doesn't exist anymore, right? So that's going to be a problem. Anyway, that I shall deal with another day. What I'm going to do today, or with the rest of this, is go back to SVG and keep working on the shapes here. Okay, so what I wanted to see was if this polygon would move with X and Y, but they don't. Which means the reason that's important to me is because if I go here to transforms, I have scale, translate, and rotate. But they all rely on G tags, which works just fine, but leads to, if I have figures that have a lot of transformations, it's like just tons and tons and tons of G tags, all with deep nesting, and the file size grows, and I don't know that that's the smartest approach all the time. So what I kind of want to do is create a translate function that will apply the translation to the real values of the position of the shape itself. So by that I mean I think actually that's going to have to be a def multi that dispatches on shoot, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge. Well, actually, is it? Let me do another little test here. Let's go like this. Copy that. Okay, let's hard code a translate in there and save this. Yeah. Fabric. There's another problem in. Oh, yeah. Well, so it is. Okay, let's quickly fix that while it's warning me about it. Okay, that should fix that. Right, Polygon template, draw, Polygon. This should be SVG. SVG dot doesn't exist. See, I don't know why it's doing that. That's a little strange to me. Okay, you know what I am gonna do? I am just gonna blast this away because it is. I can rebuild it, and if I go to the namespace here, get rid of fabric. I'll work on this more. Fabric can wait for now. That'll be a problem for another day. Builder, let's get rid of that too for the time being. Okay, we've got draw and SVG. That's all we want for right now. And all I want here. Okay, so this right here where my mouse is, I do believe is this polygon. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to check here. Extensions, if I pop back up to this here and let's swap these around, right? So we should see this move to about here. Save that. It tangles. Let's save that. And it has to re-render, I think. Yeah, so it moves there when I refresh the page, which is good-ish. So let's just double check this. Why? Save that. Okay. And this polygon. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, okay, so this XY here, it means nothing to the polygon. If I look at this, inspect this element, this path, Okay, that's what I'm looking at here. And if I if I just type in here x equals 10, what did I do? That was weird. I think I broke it, which is fine. Point is, I don't think these attributes, they don't work on these things. Okay, so what I need to do is figure out a way that I can apply the transforms to the element's direct thing, right? So does that make any sense? I'm thinking, in case that's not immediately clear. Okay, let me think. I could abuse the transform and create a translate. No, that's going to lead to some issues as well. Actually, I wonder if I don't need to do this scale string stuff here. I wonder if I could do... Okay, so I've got this G thing here. I'm going to try transform, and then I'm going to put a map there, scale half. We're going to see if that'll work. It did not. Inspect. This G tag transform scale 1. What? Okay, it's almost working, but this is half. Should it Oh, that's the wrong, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Right, so what I have is this G, this is the one that should, right, this is style, fill, none, blah, blah, blah. This transform doesn't seem to apply, transform. Yeah, okay, so it's a shame. I thought this might actually work. It doesn't seem to be. If I instead do this, transform, right? Oh. It shouldn't be in the style part of that. It should be just on its own here. Transform here, scale 0.5. Let's try that. See if that does what I want it to. It does not. Here's that G tag. This one here. Okay, so transform object. Okay, we got. No, this is wrong. Okay, that's a shame. That's a bit of a shame. Right, so if I instead do it this way, if I put a string here, that does work. Okay. The reason I'm thinking through all of this stuff is to see if there's a clever way that I can have the scale and translate and all that stuff properly properly apply as an attribute or a property of the thing that it's doing it to, including all nested elements so that it works correctly. Man. Well, let me start with let me see how def multi works again. Clojure def multi. I forget how to write the dispatch function. It's not that hard, I just don't remember it. Right, so let's have a look at an example here. Def method. Oh, I could do def multi translate element. Right, so def multi translate element, and then it's just a function, right? So I could actually just do first, and then def method def method translate element. Let's do rectangle because that's start with a nice easy one. It's theoretically easy. Well, and let's change this out. So rectangle is just gonna be rectangle with height, and the minimal approach here is you have to translate the rectangles with whatever. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. How does this work again? Translate rectangle. It's gonna be like this, right? Map. I think let's see if that makes sense. Properties. Okay, so to translate a rectangle thing, what you need to do is if I do x from a map that doesn't have x, nil. Huh. I also don't know if this will actually work, but we'll find out. Well, okay, let me just see if my brain is thinking about this properly. Okay, so I've got a def multi here, translate element there, and this translate element rectangle is a multifunction. So if I translate element and I give it a rectangle 2, 2. Oh, have I not defined it here? What did I do? Extra input. Oh, of course. Width height. There we go. Okay, so now oh, not what I wanted. Oh, no, so this is wrong. Okay, so okay, let's try another one here. Def method translate element. Let's go translate that element let's try that. Is that right? Is that gonna work? And then the function, I don't think I'm doing this properly. Hey Lumi, this doesn't look right to me. Yeah, no, it's not. I'm trying to I've done def multi before, but I don't totally remember what I'm trying to do here. What I had was this, right? So the name and then the dispatch function is just to take first. And I was just Polygon, and actually this, yeah, no. So let's see. And this is what I don't even know if I'm if this is correct entirely, but if I do translate element and then I pass it a rectangle, it should print rectangle. If I pass it a polygon, oop. Oh yeah. Okay, so it is dispatching off of the first thing from there. So on the right track with that one. Yeah, def multi simply takes a function as a third argument. Yeah, that's what. Thanks for that. That's what I've got. Oh, that sounds dismissive. I didn't mean it to be dismissive. This here, yeah. I was confused because I was briefly thinking that that you would specify the arguments in here, but in fact you don't. You do it here, I think, right? So if I do like something like this, let me just see if my understanding is actually correct here. Okay. How are things, Lumi? Actually, you do specify it in the function for def multi as well. At least the function must have a compatible shape. In this case, it's always one argument. Okay. First takes one argument. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Right. Translate element. Okay, so that isn't working the way I expected it to, which is fine. I just need to oh, I see. right? So it can't run first because I'm passing this and this into, right? So how would I shape this the way I want it to be? Function XYZ and element. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'll try it. Which is, this is reversed from what I've done here, but let's see what's going on here. Still no. Did I do something wrong here? Def multi, no. Can you redef a def multi? Or does it not work? Also have no idea if I'm actually thinking about this properly. That's something I'm not sure of right now. So if I, okay, so I can't, you need to undef it first. Okay, is undef a thing directly? I forget how to do that. Let me just search it quickly here. I should memorize this. Unbind root. Is that it? Yeah, okay, so that seems to work. Translate element. Okay, let's see. Okay, that seems to work. Now, let's go okay, so I still am not thinking about this properly, obviously. So the reason for that, dispatch value to, oops, wrong argument order in the example. Oh, thank you for that. You're right. Good call. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Now we're kind of on the right track. Okay. Right, so in the case of a rectangle, let's see here. These would be the arguments, x, y, z, and then rectangle. So what I would actually do is and this is only 2D, so Z doesn't actually make sense. Shoot, now I gotta unbind it and build it again. That's A little silly of me, but hey, that's fine. Although, since it's in a, it would have been fine. Okay. Translate element. There we go. Doesn't make a difference since there are no ops. You mean if I were to just add a bunch in there, it doesn't matter? Because it, oh yeah, you know what? That makes sense, you're right. But whatever. It's done now. But we've got here, okay, rectangle, XY, and the rectangle. And to translate that, let props be second from the rectangle, guaranteed, and then it's generally good practice to not name unused variables and use an underscore instead. Yes, I'm aware of that. I am using those variables though. Unless I'm thinking about this incorrectly still. The idea is you put translation values there, and then you have the element here, like that. Oh, do you mean right here, like this? Because, oh, sorry, that's the wrong function entirely. You mean here? Because, yeah, okay. No, I understand. I was confused because I'm using it in the in this area here, but you are totally correct. When it comes to the dispatch function, it's not used at all. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure I understand what you're getting at here. Update x here, right, with the key x with the function let's say +2. There we go. Okay. What happens if I run this, but there is no key X? Ah, okay. Yeah, that, of course that doesn't make sense either. Okay, let's see. I could be lazy and do this. If a rectangle always has x0, y0 built in there, and then the translate I can make very easily, the translate element here, I can make it easy. I don't have to check anything, I just update both with the xy added into it. It's kind of cheating. Yeah, it's not ideal, but let's start with that for now, see if it works at all. It works the way I want it to anyway. So rectangle, let props right, so new props would be thread props through update. The map is props, the key is x with plus x. Am I doing this right? My brain's in weekend mode, so if I'm making silly mistakes, it's not really an excuse, it's just a reality, you know? Let's see here. See if any of this is going to work the way I want it to. Okay, so translate this rectangle. No. Oh, did I not redefine this? Hey, there we go. So now, if I translate that translate, it's all a big old mess. There we go. Translate element. X minus 3, y 22. Okay, that's good. On that note, be right back. I'm gonna fill up my water again. It won't be long. Oh. There we go. So Lumi, how are things with you? Been doing okay? I hope things have been good. Okay. This translate function is not what I need, but I'll just move it down for now. Let's go like that. Let's actually, I'm going to split this out here. Transforms scale, which I'll deal with later. Translate. Then rotate. There. Okay, that's transforms, translate, translate element. Def multi, translate that, translate element, blah blah. XY and rectangle. I actually could, this is generic here, so actually I don't have to make a one-to-one. I could just figure out all of the, oh shoot, no, that's not entirely accurate. Okay, let's have a look at, so we'll leave rectangle as is because that is pretty much correct. We'll do now, we'll do def method translate element circle, which is going to be exactly the same. The only difference is that second lm. Oh, this I have to change element. The only difference is that instead of keys X and Y, they're going to be keys CX and CY, which is a little bit annoying. And then obviously this has to change. Default XY element. I could make this the default sort of thing here. Oop. Then all I need to change here is instead of this, I do key sure, first element like that, and then this becomes key. So technically that should work with, right? So if I now do translate element, oh, but if I want to do that, I should really have this be, is that smart to do it as a default? I think not, actually. But just to finish my thought there, let's make a fake element and see if it'll actually still translate it to 2, right? And the element I'm going to give it is ASDF, but it has a key or a property map with x7, y9, and then value ASDF. It doesn't matter, it's a garbage element sort of thing. Oh, another problem with this is it's gonna get rid of that whatever stuff is inside the element, which is no good, of course. So it does successfully recreate the key there, and it does update the map, but it gets rid of anything else that remains in there, which is just no good. So this is kind of messy with, I don't know if I'm doing this a smart way or not. Oh well, I'll keep going. So what I would want is the situation where this doesn't disappear, right? I want the element to remain the element. I suppose if I do key props and inner let's see what shows up if I just get rid of all that for now, okay? Wait, maybe I don't need to do all of this, right? Because any SVG element, an SVG circle or a path here, it's meaningless to have inner content anyway, right? I think so. Edit. Right, that has no meaning, so I kind of don't need that because it's never going to happen with these SVG components. I think that makes sense. The only time where, no, that's fine. This should be fine. I think that's actually okay. So I'm just gonna get rid of that because I don't think I need it. So circle, right, is just gonna have all this stuff. Let props be the second from the element, which is a map. New props is update CX CY. And if I follow the logic that I used with shapes here, circle. So rectangle, I made take a width and a height, and the x, y are guaranteed to be 0, 0. The only way to change them would be to pass it through a translate. If that's how I want to do it, I should also follow that logic right here. So the circle only takes a radius, and CX, CY is 0, like that. Likewise with ellipse, it should be CX 0, CY 0. I could, no, never mind. Forget that noise. Okay. Circle and ellipse follow the same idea. Okay, translate element, circle, ellipse. Is ellipse 2 L's? I've forgotten already. Yes, it is. Okay, circle. Seems that's good. That's fine. Circle and ellipse are exactly the same. They have a cx, cy value. Okay. Circle, ellipse, line and path now. This is where things start to get more difficult. Line is not too bad, so let's go with line. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Okay. Def method translate element line is going to have X, Y, translate there, element like that. Let props be the same thing there. I suppose I could do. Well, this is fine for now. Second LM. Actually, let's try it here. Let's see here. Key props. Let's see if this makes sense. Okay, so that is circle. Of course, I haven't redefined circle or ellipse, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that did work. Okay, on the right track. Okay, come on, brain, you can do it, you can think. Okay, yep, I'll do it that way, that seems fine. Okay, props. Nope, let's go and delete it that way. There we go, new props is that. And instead of ellipse, I can actually just do K. New props. Perfect. So now, here we are. K props. Then we just do new props is the thread first scenario. I wonder if there's a more clean way to do this. If I want to update independent keys. like update multiple keys independently. What would that even be called? It's not update in because that's nesting keys. Well, actually, x1, y1, update in keys. This isn't going to work, I don't think, right? And then the function, let's just do add to. Yeah, right. That makes sense because update in is like you nest it. It's nested things, so. This is good for now. It's clean enough, or it's easy enough to read it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay, so we have this rectangle's good, but we're working here on line right now. That's what I want to focus on. K new props. But instead here, we have to actually do x1 plus x, y1 plus y, and again, same idea. For x2, y2. Because a translate of a line is just going to move both points the same amount either way. Very simple, but it has to happen. Okay, so if I do that, if I make sure I have a line here, so line from 0, 0 to 10, 10, 0, 0, 10, 10, if I translate element 100, 200 of this line, x1 100, y1 200, x2 110, y2 210. So that's working like I want it to. That's great. So line is done. So we've got circle, ellipse, and line finished. Path. This is where things get messier a little bit. And Polygon and Polyline are going to have the same messiness problem. But if I do point string of a list of points, right, I can write a function that turns that back into numbers so that I can translate each number and then put it back into a point string again. I don't know if that's great. This here, path D, I could also potentially how clever do I want to get? See, I don't want to make things in a silly way, right? So for the time being, I'm going to pass over path. I'm going to look at Polygon. So what I need to do here is translate element def method translate element Polygon, and it's going to have the translate xy and k props. Now here, gotta close that off. Here we've got to do some different, we've got some different stuff going on here because Polygon right, so it translates points. Right, so let's go ahead and make a little helper back up here, string helpers. Point to string, let's do the reverse of that, string to point. So a string to point string is going to be split. Let's imagine the string is 0, 0, and you split on trim. Does trim do what I think it does? Yes. Okay. Right, so I need to pull in a require Clojure.string as s there. And then if I go here, string to point, I create wait a minute, could I get clever here? Int. Nope. Map v read string s/split stir with the regex that matches this. No idea if this is smart. Probably not. Point string. Okay, so these names I'm going to change because they're going to be way too confusing. Point to string. Or should I say format point string? That's not very helpful anyway either. This, ugh. Points string. Points to string. String to points. That way, then, here, points to string, I call that down here point to string, string to point. Points to string. String to points. String. String to point, map v string to point of s/split split on space. Ooh boy. Give it a shot. Well, let's try it now with what happened? Where did I go? Doesn't matter. Oh, something's wrong here. Oops. Okay. Points to string. All right, let's have a look at this. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay. Now, string to points of this should give me the same back. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay. That looks good. So what I need to do is use that in the def method, translate polygon. what I need to do is let, pardon me. Right, let points be points from props. String to points. So that's the points, and then new points is just going to be points to string of map plus, this is messy but it's good for now, map plus yeah, wait a minute, this shouldn't matter. Map that over points. Let's find out if this is right. Nope, that's points and new points. So then all we have to do is new props is just update props points with new points. Oh, actually, assoc into props, into the points thing of props, the new points. And that's it. Then you just return key new props. All right, let's see if that will work. Okay, so let's test, let's just have Polygon 1, 0, 0, 10, 0, 5, 10, right? Oh, if only I knew how to work my own functions, eh? It's just a list of points. Okay, so we have Polygon points there. Now, if we translate element Polygon, if we do 10, 20, hey, okay, so we have 10, 20, from 0, 0 to 10, 20, that works. 20, 20 should be 30, 40. Oh, sorry, 10, 0 should be, yeah, 20, 20. 5 and 10, 15, 30. Okay, so that looks like it works. Given that, we should also have now a function that works with polyline. No issues. Now the only thing left, so we got polygon, polyline, and rectangle here. There's two, there should be path and there should be G tags, group tags, which is, do I need to do that for groups? We'll think about that later. Let's think about how I'm going to approach this path thing, right? Because that's going to be the most convoluted thing for right now. But let me, while I'm here working on this, let's see if I've broken things. Indeed I have. Read string, write. Clojure script read string is different. See here, Clojure script read string. cljs.reader/read string. Right. Okay. So I always forget this. Reader conditionals. This is what I'm looking for. This should work. CLJS define read string as cljs.reader/read string. Yes? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Could not compile. Oh, I did defen, should just be def. Okay. Am I being bad by doing it that way? I think it might be. Points string, right, that doesn't exist in Polygon. What? Oh yeah, it's a typo. Points arrow. It's an arrow. Points to string. And then composites arrow here used point string. It should be points to string. That should fix that. Right now we've got app problems svg/circle. Of course, wrong number of arguments passed there because I changed it. That's gonna have to be fine for the time being because I want to do it. Let's do 50. Oh, it's all broken. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Huh. I broke this worse than I thought. Let's have a look here. Console. Circle is undefined. Is it really? Why would that be? Circle. Readers undefined. Man, I've made a huge mess. I'm gonna muddle through. You know what? Let's ignore that part for now. I have a lot of work to do this weekend, obviously, on cleaning it all up. But to finish out the idea, in theory, Polygon and Polyline are working with the translate. And then, actually, let me go ahead and do this. Let's get things to a state where they're at least rendering. Okay, we've got a box. That breaks it, which is fine. Let's go there. Do we have a polygon at least? No. Okay, so we're running into problems pretty quickly here. Let's have a look at the console for a minute. Right. Did I do something wrong here? Stylo, source, SVG. CLJS that, point string. Let's change this up. Oh, no. If let me Control XK, kill it anyway, yes. Require cljs.reader refer read string. Is that gonna work? Let's give that a shot. Let's see. Polygon is undefined. Don't know what I'm doing. That's fine. This is not helping. Okay. I don't know what broke on my reagent side of things. So let me just, I have to get going soon. This is something I need to figure out. That's fine. What can I do yet? I'm gonna start hypothesizing about what I could do with this path here, right? So if I do closed path of 0, 10, sorry, let's do 10, 0, 0, 0, 10, 0, 5, 10. Okay. If I def A as D from second of this thing, A is this. If I do s/split A with space, oop, gotta do it as a regex. This is gonna be a little more complicated. Well, I could split not on that, but on forget here, regex for any letter, match only letters. I forget what it is. It shouldn't be too hard. Start of a string, end of a string, any character. That's not what I need. Word character. Let's see here. Non-digit. Hey, cool. Okay. Okay, so this, right, does so that does split. Oh wait, there's probably a smarter way to do that, right? If I do start of a string. Yeah, that only eats up the M at the start. Right, so what I want to do, oh, I could do something, maybe this is different. It's something like this, right? So it always follows the pattern, a non-digit followed by digit, non-digit followed by a digit, any. This is going to be bad if there's decimals, but let's start with this. We'll start with this. Start with this. Any digit, and then any space, and then any digit again. Okay, so that's working, kinda. Sorry if I'm having trouble pronouncing your name. Name the hill or something like that. Hello. And Peroniada, hello. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. How's it going with you all? It's okay? Oh, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. It's really kind. Sorry if I'm a little not super engaging I'm trying to think through some problems that I'm having right now, and maybe that's a little boring, but thanks for stopping in. How's it going for you both? Hope things are going well for you. Oh, let's see here. Instead of this, S, same thing. Good, thanks. Friday evening, just chilling. And me? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It's not quite evening where I'm at, but it's the nice warm afternoon. Just been taking it casual today, working on this code. I'm getting somewhere where I'm starting to be more clear about the organization of the code, so it's nice in terms of the stream. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm heading up to my parents' cottage. They have jet skis over there, and beautiful weather. So I'm having a good time even just thinking about it. So that's where I'm at. Do you do any code projects, any programming of your own? Just, I'm just curious. Feel free to chat about it if you want, and if you don't want to answer any of my questions, that's totally cool too. But I'm just curious, Did I say thanks for the follows, by the way? It's really nice. I appreciate that. Wait a second, I needed that. There we go. Work as a software developer? Nice stuff. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm not a, what would you call it? Like officially trained software dev or anything like that. I just am self-taught, so, if you notice any egregious things, it's totally because I might... there's a lot of things I don't know, so. But do you believe everyone is? Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you use Clojure, or do you use other languages? I guess it's not a hard requirement. You can use... It's not Clojure or others. It could be Clojure and others. You'd love to? You're getting into it? Oh, very nice. I'd tell you to, pay attention, and I can teach you a thing or two, but to be completely honest, I know Clojure well enough to use it and poke around, but there's always more and better approaches that I'm still learning, so yeah, Yeah, you know, your mileage may vary, right? I do really love the language though. It's a ton of fun. I just have been recently messing around with Reagent, which is a wrapper around React, and I've been messing around with making little prototype apps and stuff like that. This is sort of trivial right now, but the idea is to have little spawnable tools that you can use when you're doing programmatic CAD and stuff like that. This was a little thing I made. My mom makes quilt patterns, and there's templates that she needs to print off, so I mocked up a little thing where she could design quilt fabric shapes, right? And then in theory, right, you could print this template off as a PDF or something. So, and I did this all with a Clojure script on the client side. So it's just so fun to mess around and learn all that stuff. Yeah, you heard many good things. Yeah. Yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about it. Even the stuff I don't know or am confused about, because like I said, there's always more to learn. I do really like it. So I encourage you to hop right in and learn. I'm sure it's not too hard if you already have software background, right? Is it my first programming language? It's the first language that I've stuck with and am trying to go deeper into. So I studied mechanical engineering in university, and we learned C++, and I learned in quotes. I was able to do the assignments and everything like that, but for me it never clicked. Then we had to learn MATLAB, which similarly I could do what I needed to do, but didn't learn much beyond that. Then when I got into industry, it was Excel sheets and VBA, which, you know, in my opinion, it's not the most fun way to program, but it works. And then I started teaching myself Python, and after Python, I love Python, but I wanted to try something totally different to shift how I thought about programming in general. And I discovered Clojure, and have decided that for the time being it's a pretty cool language to stick with. Nemethyl, I think is how I might pronounce that. You love Python? Yeah, don't get me wrong, just because I'm not using it now doesn't mean I don't like it. I think it's quite awesome, right? The amount of good tools built in that language is quite astonishing. Just wanted to teach myself a Lisp and see what else was out there, you know? And Clojure happened to be a pretty cool language. What I'm attempting to do now, though, is figure out what I should do with this for translating the path elements in SVG here. Did I find recursion and data immutability difficult? You know, recursion is a little harder for me than immutability. And there was also the confusion of like, I'm pretty sure Python does not have implicit returns, right? Let me check that, I'm not sure. Python. Wait, what am I even doing? I don't know. Def. I don't remember Python well enough to slap out a function to test it quickly. Anyway, doesn't matter. I found data immutability not too difficult. It was just like, I actually found it to not be a problem at all, because you get used to implicit returns and functions that you give it something in and it just gives you something out. And I learned really quickly that I didn't care, if I deft a as some global variable, that running the function on it and I click a and a is still a, even if I run a function over that data. It just was easy for me. Recursion I found a little harder, just because I struggle sometimes to figure out how I should properly define what's it even called? Like the base case, right? Where if, if you do a Fibonacci or something, right? It's like if n is 1, then you end, otherwise you recurse. I'm not explaining it very well. Recursion was harder for me. Honestly, still is sometimes difficult. But immutability probably took about a week of learning the language in general and got pretty used to that one. I really like the idea of just making functions and then they're just kind of these black box things anyway. It's just a fun way to think about it. So I was almost happy to have immutable data structures, But my problem right now is I have these things that I can use to generate SVG, maybe, if my function works, or if my app launches again. Let's just exit Python, because I'm just confusing myself with this. I don't need this. Right, so I have, theoretically, this polygon, which works. Yeah, okay. So we're in a state where things kind of work. I made a function, svg/translate, which is a multi-function, so it dispatches a different implementation based on the type of SVG element you give it. But it works for all of these here: circle, ellipse, line, polygon, polyline, and rectangle. But it does not work for path, because path has this string. I can generate the string for a path, but then I'm trying to figure out how to translate those points in an intelligent way. So I almost have to parse the string out, do the translate to the point values, and then parse it back into a new path string. Not sure if that makes any sense, but for a moment here, let me test this translate to see if it actually is working. Couldn't read. Well, that might be because I have the wrong parens. Okay, there we go. So this translate is working with that, which is quite nice. It should also work with Polyline. Yep. Sweet. That's working, which I'm happy with. If I do, let me see if circle's working again. It is. So now let's also do svg/translate. Circle. Did that work? I blinked. I didn't pay attention. Yes, it works. Oh boy, I will be right back. I drink a lot of water during the day, especially when it's warm out. Problem with that is I have to go to the washroom a lot, so I'll be like 2 minutes. All right, I'm back at it. Sorry about that. Right, so this translate works on all of those functions more or less fine. It's just this path one that is a tough nut to crack. And once I have that working, I don't have, speaking of recursion and all of that, I have not set up, this translate works just on the, oh shoot, I'm also making a little bit of a mistake here. Translate here, I have I have another implementation just called translate, and it just wraps all the elements in a G tag. So of course it's gonna work fine here. It's just using G. What I need to do is test that it, I have to actually test the right thing. It's kind of silly of me. It's like an eye. Oops. There. Creepy. I love it. But what I actually need to test is translate element. And then if the translate element works, I need to change the implementation of translate so that it can work on lists of objects, nested. It won't need to work on nested objects because there's no, it doesn't make sense to nest SVG elements unless it's in a G tag. Anyway, I need to make this work on individual things or on lists, so I just need to, I haven't done that yet. But let's actually check that this works. Things are almost working. It works on circle and ellipse, but it's not working on Polygon. Now, why would that be? Let's just well, that's no good. Let's have a look here. SVG, fill none, stroke black, stroke width. That's very weird. Okay. Oh, here. This is silly. So I have accidentally overwritten. I don't know why that was there, but I don't need it there. Believe I can determine what is React component, what's not, but this SVG you're using, is it an abstraction for HTML element or my own structure? Give me just a moment and I'll explain. Maybe I understand your question. Just give me one moment. I thought I fixed it, but I guess not. Right, so I have, this is maybe confusing. In this pane here, I have this is a scratch pad. It's called ASDF app, like it doesn't have a meaningful name. I'm using it to test out the front end stuff. So this is pure Clojure script, and it uses, like you're correct, it's using a reagent which makes React components. This SVG thing, I have my own library that I'm trying to develop called Stylo here, and there's a namespace in that, which is in this pane here. This, I'm trying to design it that you can use it as a library on the Clojure side, or you can use it in Clojure script. It doesn't matter. But the SVG stuff here is just a namespace, and all I'm doing all I'm attempting to do is wrap with some simple functions the SVG component or SVG elements, right? So if you have an SVG thing, you can put inside it G tags, right? Line tags, path, polygon, all that stuff, right? So that exists as SVG stuff. My namespace here creates data structures that kind of look like this. Rectangle, width 20, height 20, right? This is just a vector with a keyword rectangle there and a map of properties. And if I go here, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Clojure. I think you said you're kind of learning it. But here, there's this library called Hiccup. This should work. Unbalanced parentheses, eh? Well, why on earth? What have I done? Let's have a look here. Some basics from Living Clojure book. I have not read that one. I'll take your word that it's word for it that it might be helpful. So I don't know what's discussed in that book. But anyway, to continue what I'm trying to explain for a minute, there's this thing Hiccup, right? It has an HTML compiler, and what it does is anything that has that shape to it, it'll compile into HTML tags. So you could make this P keyword here can be nonsense, and then this can be anything. This is just text, and it'll make a nonsense tag, right? So you can use that to create an SVG tag that has values, and then it works nested as well. So if in this namespace I've got, for example, Polygon, and I just give it a list of points 0, 0, 10, 0, 5, 10, okay, right? This function Polygon produces this data structure here, and then that data structure I can pass in to the HTML compiler, and this here is a valid Polygon tag element that can sit in an SVG thing. It works. The compiler works with. You could do nested structures, so you could have a div, right, and p para 1, and then another one, right, para 2. This has only one level of nesting, but you can go arbitrarily deep with it, right? And so this div contains 2 paragraph things. So the idea here is this SVG thing is just me making some wrapper functions around SVG. The whole idea is to make this library I use to make little, let's see here, what's a good, none of these are perfect examples, but looks simple yet powerful. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. You want things relatively simple but really useful and extensible if you need it. The library I'm working on is I'm trying to use it for things to do programmatic CAD. So this is a sample page that I made. There's a lot to be desired in terms of completeness, but this library here, Stylo, I use a lot of that those ideas to make this document, which you see up here. And the long term, the dream is that I have nicely designed interactive things, right? So this, right now I can change this and it updates the SVG element here, right? And it even updates the dimensions that you see here. So this base height is this 7 here, and the bar length here. This was a thing I made for some gym equipment. It's like a gymnastics kind of thing, but that's neither here nor there. This is just an example of the kind of stuff I want to use for use a well-designed library for. There's a lot, like I said, a lot of improvements that I need to make. And I'm just doing my best to see that this was generated with my library here. All of these were, and it's not a complete document, but anyway, that's kind of the big idea, or at least that's the kind of output I want the library to have. And so just I started, and it was a really messy library, and it's still really messy, but I'm slowly trying to chip away at understanding how to organize it so that it's simple, it's clean, it's not overly complicated more than it needs to be. And that's actually, it's surprisingly difficult. Like, it's really easy to make a mess, but it's really hard to pick away exactly the things you need and the things you don't. So that's, you know, what I struggle with. But I'm gonna keep putting in the time and effort. But what I need to do, I need to get going soon, but I do want to get to the bottom of the problem I have here. Hey, there's errors, which is bad but good, I guess. Oh yes, that's right. See, this is one, cool, it's pretty much a DSL for CAD, by the way. Mess is always the easiest thing to create. Yeah, I know. Well, and I'm not ashamed of the fact that I made some mess, right? I was like, I would call it the exploratory phase, experimental, but refining and refining and refining is what I really am focusing on trying to do and getting better at it, because I think that programmatic CAD and sharing design ideas through those sort of documents that I show you is a powerful idea. But if all I deliver is some mess, that's not really what I want to go for. So I'm not ashamed of making a mess, right? But I want to take useful things from it and make it clean and make it powerful and useful, right? It's really hard to do, but I think that's where the real value comes in. You know, if you can spend the time and energy making it clean and maintain power and usability, hit the jackpot. This is a tangent for a moment, but this here is one thing I don't love about Clojure and Clojure script is in theory, you can use all your Clojure code in the Clojure script environment, but in practice, there are times where it's just not going to be exactly the same. And this is just a simple example, right? In Clojure, I have this library hiccup, but it doesn't exist in Clojure script. Other people have made other libraries, so hiccups, I think, is a Clojure script thing. I don't even know. Yeah, so that it is, but I don't think I have it downloaded as a dependency. But anyway, just there are times where like you can get a lot of the work you can do and you don't even have to pay attention to if it's Clojure or Clojure script, but every once in a while the seams, like the differences show up. And you just have to be ready for it, that's all. Am I gonna get anywhere with this? Let's have a look here. This polygon thing is driving me nuts. What have I done wrong here? Okay, let's calm myself down and have a look. SVG. Oh, maybe I have to... There it is. Okay. Another little thing. The way this app is running is through... It's running here in this REPL. Right? This is a Clojure script REPL. And it's connected to the browser, right? So right here I just did an alert, hi, and it shows up in the browser, which is really cool. I mean, it's awesome. But I have this library as a dependency in this program, and maybe it's just me being not smart about how I've broken things out, but sometimes you can hot reload, like you can just make a change and it'll show up appropriately, but other times you have to refresh the whole browser to get the change to show up the way you want. I'm just complaining for no reason though. What did I do? Oh yeah. Cool, there we go. Okay, let me see. Ah, sweet. Okay, so good. My translate element thing is working. That is exciting. I'm happy with that. I've got to go soon, but what I want to do is at least capture some notes about this translate thing. Okay, so Polygon. Actually, it should be maybe up here in the string helpers thing. I have closed path string, right? It takes a set of points and it produces this string that looks like this, which is important for SVG. It's got move to 0, 0, then it says line from whatever, line whatever, and Z is closed path. So what I want to make is a closed path to points function that takes the string this, and so split A with that kind of works, but I have to have some logic to put it back together, right? That's the... If I do drop last of this, I could make a solution that's very specific to this setup, and that's probably going to be good for now, but it's not very useful. Do I love it? No. I could do map string split on non-digits, map that function over the result of this, unable to resolve, oh, there we go. So what we're left with here, oh, if I do map cat, what happens there? Okay, so here I've got just the points, kind of. So now I can do filter Not, is that, I forget if that's a predicate. I don't think so. Not equal filter this thing with that filter gives me that. Then all I need to do is partition to that, and then I just do map read string oh no, I should map read string over that first. See, this is what I love about the REPL. You can just build up little things one step at a time, but this is a messy approach. I don't totally love it, but hey, we're just gonna call it good for right now. I'm gonna be okay with it. So let's thread first string, okay? And we'll just do it as a sequence of transformations. We'll do s/split the string with that, drop last, then map cat oh shoot, this is I should maybe do as is there an, I forget, okay, let's do this. Thread first string, drop last, okay. Then I have to where was I in this whole chain of things? Drop last, and then map cat. Wait a second, is this gonna be what I need it to be? What's the right way to do this? As, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's try this. I've never actually used the as thread macro before. What's the syntax of it? Okay. Okay, let's try that. Okay, split s. Wait a sec, let me just check. Clojure as. See if that's good. Threading macros, okay. Thread first, yes, yes. That's fine, thread last. Okay, what does as thread look like? Wait, what? Let me actually read this here. Let's go here. Binds name to expression. Evaluates the first form in the lexical context. Yeah. Okay, so this is, I'm pretty sure, correct. Drop last S. Then, I think this is going to work the way I think it is. May as well finish it out and try. Okay, so there's drop last, and there's map cat, S split. Okay, map cat %d there. S. Have you tried using different editors in Emacs? Heard it's beneficial to learn it because you can become very efficient with it. As for right now, I'm bound to IDEs with all this control space, code hints, shortcuts, etc. I use VS Code as well, which is not strictly an IDE, it's just a quite powerful editor. I've used Vim in the past. What else have I used? I used to use Notepad++ on Windows. For me, I do find that I don't care so much, or I think editors should not be a thing that people think about so much, if that makes any sense. Like, I use Emacs, but I am not what you would call a power user. There are so many things and so many features that I don't know about or haven't bothered to set up properly. I just like how it looks. I used it because a lot of people, when I was learning how to set up Clojure, said, here's how you set up Emacs, and I just went with it. If you're bound to an IDE because you like the shortcuts and you have all that knowledge about how to use it, in my opinion, there's no real reason to need to switch it, you know? It is true that some editor might have more features and make you more efficient than some other editor. For example, if I literally wrote all of my code in Notepad on Windows, that's probably harder to maintain and slower than using VS Code or Atom or Sublime Text, right? But using VS Code or using Emacs or using something else, in my opinion, doesn't have enough difference to really make it better, definitively better to learn one over the other. I don't know if that makes any sense. I guess I'm using Emacs right now. I like it. I don't feel a reason to switch right now, but if I decide to, for fun or out of necessity, to switch to something else, I am totally comfortable with that. I just kind of learned to be relatively comfortable in anything, and you're probably going to be fine. Not sure if that made any sense. I just don't think it's worth worrying about what editor you're using at the end of the day, if that makes any sense. Last thing here, filter, not. Have I made a horrible, horrible mess? I do think the answer is yes. But let's see if this even works. Close path to points of A is not done, but it does. Oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, Oh man, I really got a motor soon, but I want to finish this part off. Okay, close path to points. Now, so I have this filter S here. Next thing I should do is map read string over S. And then the final thing is partition to S. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. It does. The only thing is, I want them to be in a vector, not in. Does that matter though? It won't actually. If I tried using TDD in Clojure, some people say it's not necessary because of programming with the REPL. I believe unit tests keep project documented. TDD and writing tests and everything is one of those things that I am forcing myself to learn and get better at. You don't see a lot of test writing on my stream precisely because of what you say. I love using the REPL to build up small things as I go, but as I take my library from, like I said earlier, from a mess, from this messy exploratory phase into a state where I feel comfortable using it and releasing it as like an actual useful tool, tests are absolutely part of it. So for example, I haven't written them, but it comes to mind that maybe it makes sense here. These functions here, point to string and then string to point, you could write a simple test around these, you know, that you run the transformation chain, you put an input, run it through the transformation chain back to its original, and then just check that the input and the output are actually equivalent, right? Then it's a test, and you can use that to maybe make a more efficient implementation and whatnot. Long answer short is, I've done TDD a little bit. I know I need to do it more as I bring this library forward into a useful state, because doing REPL-driven development is really, really useful if I'm the only one who's gonna try to use the library, right? But I think it's fair if I want other people to use it, it's fair to provide examples and tests to help document, like you say, how to use it. So it's on the docket, if that makes sense. It's a critical part of how this has to go. Okay, here, okay, I'm almost done for the day. Translate element path. What I have right now is this XY translate there, and you put in K props like that, and then here, and you do a let, just like I've done with this Polygon. I have to do a little bit of path is the closed path to points function over the path, over the D element from props, right? That's path. New path is just closed path string over map plus, oops, path. That's new path, and then new props is just assoc into the props map into D new path. Is that gonna work? It's always the question on my mind. Okay, new props. Let's give that a shot. Hey, closed path to points is not a function. That's fair, because it's PTS. One thing I need to do is build a eventually a consistent naming convention into this sort of stuff, because it's a little messy. Along the lines of TDD, test-driven development, there is, this is something, clojure.spec.alpha. I don't remember it. Clojure has this thing called spec that lets you build up a specification structure for what the shape of your data should look like, and then you can run, with a well-defined spec, you can run generative testing to have it, like, it can really stress test important parts of your code all automatically. That's something I think is even cooler almost than just regular TDD, right? You almost take your unit tests and turn them up to 11 by doing generative testing, right? So it'll randomly build values and make sure the function is working and stuff like that. Yeah, property driven. That's right. That's the right term. Property driven development. Yeah, and spec is a really cool way to do that. So that, along with writing tests, are what I want to do more of as well. It's really cool. I think so anyway. Because it's like, just make the computer do the work for you, you know? All you have to do is define the spec, and the computer just checks things for you. What did I just do? Okay, does this work now? Right, okay, so all I need to do is, if I do closed path, let's make a closed path that's translate element 100 100. Yes, it worked. I love it. I love it when that happens. Heard about it on a local Java user group. It's too bad most Java programmers don't write code that allows that kind of testing. Huh. Yeah, I guess maybe it does require a certain change in thinking about how you build up your programs, right? But surely there are property-based testing suites for Java. That would be a thing, I would imagine, right? Next thing to try. Okay, that closed path works. this is probably going to break it. But let's find out. Let's be sure. Okay, so we have right here. Yeah, it broke because of this new line thing here. It didn't factor that in appropriately. So I need to figure that one out actually. Yeah, some functional programming rules must be respected to use them. First of all, pure functions, which is very rare. Yeah, in my experience, and this, I mean, when I was using Python, right, like just because data is mutable, it's so easy as you're writing to just mutate your variables and everything, right? And by doing that so easily, it can also very easily make your functions impure, just like as you're going, you know, without even thinking about it. So yeah, I get it. You know, even the best intentioned people will like it's just a function of the language, right? It's kind of the default is impure functions all over the place. So yeah, I get it. Okay, final thing here. Oh, I know what I can do to fix that. I have to go very soon, but I can do this. Paths is actually going to be map closed path points over string split lines of this. Okay, then new paths is map this Is that gonna fix it? Let's find out. Let's find out. It broke, and that's fair because I didn't pay attention. Did I even edit the right thing? Yeah, okay. Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this and put a note, because I know I have to fix this up. But I have to get going, so. Path translate doesn't work with multiple paths yet. Easy to fix, but have to make the oh boy, easy to fix, but I have to make the change still. Okay, there we go. All right, on that note, I have been streaming for a bit, actually, a little bit of a longer one for me today. I'm feeling pretty good about what I managed to do. Some of the mess I created is necessary but fixable. Some of the mess I cleaned up I'm really happy with as well. And things are coming along. So I'm pretty happy. Hey, anyone still tuned in right now? Anyone who had tuned in earlier? Thank you so much. I appreciate the views, I appreciate the follows and the chats. It's one of the things that is really fun about actually streaming, right? Streaming is cool because it forces me to, on a regular basis, actually sit and do programming. But being able to do Oh, doing a great job on these streams. Thank you so much. That seriously, that means a lot. It's very encouraging. Wish I had a bigger audience. Looking forward to the next stream. Thank you. That seriously, that's so helpful for me. It means a lot. There are days where it's like, oh man, do I have to stream? And the real answer is no, but I like doing it a lot. But hearing the little bits of affirmation is really quite awesome. And hey, a bigger audience, I do think that we can get there eventually. I'm a patient man. I think things can grow over time. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, looking forward to the next stream. On that note, it is a long weekend over here in Canada, so there's a good chance that I will not be streaming on Monday, but I should be back on Tuesday to stream again, and then normally I have Wednesdays off, I might shift my Monday stream to Wednesday, so stay tuned. Thanks again for showing up. I'll be back again next week, I promise you that. Have a good weekend, and be well. I'm on my way. See ya.